if you're being devalued, if you're being overly criticized and antagonized by your partner who once had you on a pedestal, and now you feel like they're putting other people that have no business even being anywhere near that trophy room, and they're putting those people in pedestals, and you feel like you're just being pushed to the bottom, that's a huge red flag. Yo, what's up? Welcome back to Psychopath Exposure. I'm Kira, and today we're going to be talking about relationships that change, unhealthy changes, maybe not so unhealthy changes, but how to be able to, differentiate when your relationship is becoming toxic or when it's just running its course and becoming stale. I had a survivor ask a question a couple of days ago. This came from Vanessa, and she goes, how do we know the difference of change from the newness of a relationship, as the newness usually does wear down, to an unhealthy change? Pretty much sums it up. Thanks for sending it in, Vanessa. You hear it all the time that relationships grow stale over time and things change the longer you're with someone. I don't know if that's really true or not. In my experience, in my longest relationship, things didn't change that way. They usually progress. Things would there's like stages and phases of the relationship. You're no longer doing the things you did the first 3 months, but you're doing more things. You're traveling more, something. Then you move in together. You start growing that. Now you involve family. Now you have Thanksgivings together, Christmases together. It's just the relationship evolves and it starts to grow, right? When it becomes unhealthy, it's kind of like a knowing. So the reason I say that, Vanessa, if you're watching videos like this already, then chances are that what you're experiencing is an unhealthy change. I never had to Google or YouTube videos like this in that relationship, right? That relationship ended for other reasons, but nothing psychotic or narcissistic, right? I never had to worry about, we're the things aren't the way they used to be anymore. Something's going on. It wasn't like that, right? I only experienced that when I was dating a psychopath. Right? And when I was dating a psychopath, just like everyone here in the community, you know what happens to your brain and the brain fog and the cognitive dissonance. You know when you start being devalued, which is a pattern of narcissists, right? So you start your relationship and things are great, supposedly. That's why you got into the relationship in the first place. And when you're dealing with a narcissist, at the beginning you're being love bombed. At the beginning you're being idealized as the greatest partner ever to walk the earth, right? And you feel amazing, and you feel like they're also the best partner, like everything's just great. Over time, sometimes in a matter of months, but over time, you're no longer that shiny object. Now they start devaluing things that they once loved. If they used to love the way your hair looked, like if you had long hair, now they suddenly don't like long hair. If a certain style like you used to have that they just loved and always complimented, now they don't compliment it nowhere near as often. It's a matter of fact, now they criticize it. Now they suddenly are into the polarizing opposite of what they once loved and once were attracted to. It's like they start becoming another person, and you start to feel that. I would imagine that's why you're watching videos like this, because you're starting to feel a drastic change. Actually, if it was a very, very microscopic change, you wouldn't notice, especially if the relationship continues to evolve, right? But you start noticing And I say drastic because sometimes it's from one day to the next. You start seeing sides of this person that you had never seen before. And they start treating you in ways that they had never treated you before. Okay? Although the red flags were always there, you just didn't see them at the time. Your selective focus was not paying attention to that. It was distracted with all these amazing things, which comes with the territory of being in that love bombing stage with a psychopath or a narcissist. But now you're starting to feel that change, aren't you? And you're confused as to whether this is healthy or not, or it's just a relationship, it's just going through that maturity. Is it really maturity? I mean, you haven't defined what changes you're referring to. Obviously, it would be a lot more helpful if you were to define exactly what is it that's going on, because now we're just speculating here right now. But you are in an anti-narcissist community, so we're going to speculate that the intimacy has been cut off or is no longer the same, which is one of the biggest traits across the board of psychopaths and narcissists, how they'll just cut sex. They'll cut that intimacy as punishment, whatever it is to control you and torture you, that gets cut. So if at the beginning of the relationship you guys were just on like rabbits, and now they don't let you touch them, they just are not in the mood, they don't feel good, and this and the other, that's an unhealthy change. That is just completely out of character. Unless they have a real serious health issue that's documented, they've been hospitalized, like it's a documented thing, right? Chances are when you're dealing with a toxic person like this, it's probably that. And do not think that there isn't someone on the side, which is another one of these big changes that we start feeling. We start feeling that there's somebody else. And it's just a knowing. You feel it in your stomach. You feel those butterflies in your stomach. Your soul knows. Your soul is screaming at you. You start noticing things that just don't make sense. Now, you may talk about this with your friends. You may leave out bits and pieces of information. Perhaps you're a little embarrassed at what's really going on in your relationship, what's really going on at home. And your friends not knowing, not understanding, not have ever been in a narcissistic toxic relationship. They have no idea what is really going on. So they may tell you, oh, that's normal in every relationship, the sex is not the same anymore, and you start doing different things, when you're 80. But there's always something uncanny with these predators. And that feeling of uncanniness is what should throw you off. Right? It's probably what led you here in the first place. If you're being devalued, if you're being overly criticized and antagonized by your partner who once had you on a pedestal, and now you feel like they're putting other people that have no business even being anywhere near that trophy room, and they're putting those people in pedestals, and you feel like you're just being pushed to the bottom, that's a huge red flag. And that's very, very unhealthy. If they're cutting intimacy, if they're not returning your texts with the same frequency and enthusiasm that they once did, that's a red flag. Now, I understand people get busy. Not everybody wants to be on their phone all the time. But come on, we do live in a society now where everybody is tethered to their phone. And it only takes 2 seconds to respond to a text. A lot of people have those damn Apple Watches, right? It's like, how much more tethered can we become? Are we going to get the Neuralink? Are we going to get the microchip? I don't know. But we're becoming more and more tethered. So texting is something that does not take too much effort, no matter how busy you are. If you have some sort of a device like that on you, on your pocket, you're always glancing at it, it doesn't take more than 2 seconds to respond. They did it at the beginning. They were blowing up your phone at the beginning. And they're probably blowing up the phone of the new supply that they're grooming right now. So when you start noticing things like that, they no longer want to have those, they don't longer want to be on the phone with you. They ghost you. They start canceling. This is a huge one. If you're not like living together and you're in a relationship, you're dating, whatever, but you each have your own place. Now well, before you had plans every weekend and you knew you were going to be with your partner. Come Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday, you knew you were going to have a great time with your romantic partner. You were not going to be alone. Those weekends, that's a guarantee. You know you're going to get it on. It's going to be a fun night. It's going to be a fun weekend. Like, that was guaranteed. Now suddenly they're canceling. Suddenly they don't have time. Suddenly they're too busy. And that it's not a one-time thing. If it's a one-time thing, that's cool. But when it starts becoming a pattern, that's when it's a red flag. That's the thing with toxic people and narcissists, that we forget that we're all human and we're all entitled to make mistakes or to do things and learn from them, right? We're not perfect, but it's usually a one-time thing. You touch the stove, a hot stove, and you get burned. Chances are you're not going to touch that stove again. Once you touched it once and you got burned, you learned it's not something you're going to keep doing. But imagine someone that just keeps touching the stove and they have a collection of burns in their hands and in their arms. Now that's a sick pattern, isn't it? Right? That's going to be a red flag. They're addicted to getting burned, right? So you have to look at the patterns with these people. Again, I'm gonna keep reminding you, if you're watching this video right now, chances are you're going through something like this, because these videos are resonating with you for a reason. Otherwise, your brain, your selective focus would not even notice them. They wouldn't, even if they would be in front of you, like, your radars wouldn't pick it up. It just wouldn't pick it up. The YouTube algorithm wouldn't even be showing it to you because it wouldn't be relevant. You probably wouldn't be looking for videos on relationship advice or relationship problems or toxic relationships or anything like that, right? So it wouldn't even pop up. Wouldn't even pop up. So that might be a sign that you might want to look at, right? To validate and confirm your suspicions. I don't believe that relationships, healthy relationships, when there's change, that they stir up or they muster up these feelings of anxiety, these feelings of impending doom, these feelings that we know something's wrong. There's just something wrong, you know, and you feel it and you can't put your finger on it, but you just know something's wrong because things are just not the same. They're not the same, and it's an uncanny not the same. You contrast that with growth and maturity and elevating and building, and it's different, because at the core we're still the same people. At the core we're still the same people, and we may grow and we may evolve, but we're still the same people, especially when you love somebody, right? And it's genuine. But with a narcissist, it's like they're from another planet. They're from a totally different planet, and they're like chameleons. They can just change the color of their skin and you can't even recognize them anymore. It's like, who are you? Who have you become? The truth is, it's not that they became something else. That's the exterior appearance. It looks like they've become something else, but they've always been the same. They're a chameleon. Chameleons change their skin, they change their colors, they blend in with the background. They're able to do that. That's what a chameleon does. A shapeshifter, that's what they do. So in essence, the psychopath, the narcissist, they've always been that. They just fooled you with their exterior. And now that change has taken place, you notice it. And it's like, what the hell is going on? Like, and that feeling, that uncertainty of whether this is a healthy change, because as you mentioned, relationship, you know, let me pull up the comment again. The newness, like you said, the newness usually does wear down. Well, sure. Have you ever heard the expression, like, you don't know somebody until like after 90 days? After 90 days, that's when the claws come out. Have you heard of that? It's a cliche, but it comes from truth. And all my life, that's been real. You meet someone at the beginning and everything is great. Everything's just amazing. It's like you have everything in common. And around the 3-month mark, that's when you have like your real fight, your real first fight. You see the way they process information. You see the way they handle adversity. You see the way they handle challenges. That's when you start discovering more things. That's when you might meet the parents around that time and you see, oh, look at the relationship with their parents. Well, they don't have a good relationship. That's pretty toxic. What? You start noticing things like that around that time. It's like, wow, I guess I didn't really know this person that well. No, you didn't. 3 months is not enough time to know somebody whatsoever. You're only seeing what they want you to see. And this goes for all of us. This goes for all of us. We're always going to put our best foot forward. We're always going to be at our best behavior. But over time, as you start feeling more comfortable, you start just exposing more of your true self. And that's when you can really see if you're dealing with a monster, when you're dealing with a psycho, when you're dealing with a normal person. Like, what's normal? That's for another video, right? And that's subjective. But we're talking about psychopaths and narcissists here. So I'm sure you know where I'm coming from when I put it in those words. So yeah, you got to really look at and understand the patterns of a narcissist. They love bomb, idealize you, they devalue you, and then they end up discarding you when you're no longer any use to you, any use to them anymore. That's the way that pattern goes. So if you're noticing now, if you're feeling that you're being devalued now and things are changing, well, just know it's a matter of time until you're thrown away and cheated on and disposed. So keep your eyes open for those red flags. Understand that nothing's ever going to be like that honeymoon stage at the beginning for anybody. Just think of anything that you do in life that's brand new. You move into a new home, for example. And at the beginning, it's, oh my God, I got a new house. Or maybe you got a new car, and it's just, oh, that smell, the new car smell, and you're just so excited, and you get up in the morning, you get in your car, and it's fantastic. Or if you have a house, you go to work, when you come back, you're coming back to your new home, and you're furnishing it, and you're painting, and you're setting everything up, and it's great. But over time, a few months later, you adapt. It's not that you're bored of it, it's that you adapt. You adapt to that person, right? So, excuse me, you adapt to that home, you adapt to that new car. So in a relationship, after a while, you kind of like adapt. You let your guard down a little bit, right? You're not so reserved in the things you say. You're not so afraid of not being liked anymore because you already know that they like you. You already had that validation, right? So your true self starts coming out a little bit more. But their true self also starts coming out a little bit more. That's when you're going to start seeing cracks in the mask of the narcissist. That's when you're going to all of a sudden see a tantrum that they throw out of nothing, out of nowhere. That's where you're going to see a little bit of disrespect that if you accept it, you'll see more of later. So you have to pay attention to those red flags and trust your soul, trust your gut. If you're feeling, if you're watching videos like this, chances are that's exactly what's going on. What your greatest fears are probably true. Okay? So thanks for sending that in. Again, if you'd like me to elaborate a little bit more, then feel free to respond to the comment and detail what changes, what changes in particular are you noticing that you're unsure whether they're healthy or just the newness wearing off, or if it's toxic. And I'm sure everybody in the community will be able to contribute to that as well. So thanks again. I hope you guys are having an amazing week, free from toxic narcissist energy. And if you're not, you've reached the right place. We're here to help. If you'd like to work directly with me, visit my website right here. See that? And get some more information, see if we're a good fit for each other, and we can work together through this nightmare. And if this is your first time in the channel, I don't know if you guys are aware, I have a free ebook that I wrote called the 5 Steps of Going No Contact with a Psychopath Narcissist. So if you are indeed dealing with one of these toxic predators and they don't leave you alone and you can't seem to move forward, this book will teach you how to create the boundaries that you need, how to block them completely, and so you can give yourself a chance to heal and not have to deal with their shit anymore. And for that, you can also click the link below in the description. and I'll send you the book directly to your inbox. So that's all I got for today. Thanks for sticking around and checking out the video. If you got any value, please drop a like, subscribe to the channel so we can continue growing the community. And I wish you guys the best. Enjoy the weekend. My name is Kira. This is Psychopath Exposure. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.